which leads me to the third point about emotional intelligence. You must have a heightened self-awareness and the ability even to critique oneself. And that means the ability to have tolerance of differences, different perspectives, difference of doing things, you know, and this is important in order to better yourself. The ability to adapt and to innovate. Ability even to be able to drop what you thought was a great idea yesterday, eh? Yesterday you wrote a great proposal, which you thought was the best thing that you ever did in your life. And in fact, your friend affirmed that it was the best thing that had ever happened on earth. Guess what? Then you meet somebody tomorrow who trashes it completely. You must be able to pick yourself up and say, and listen to that and say, what could have been right? What could I use to improve this proposal better? How do I need to do it? And actually go on and do it. This is very difficult. And I have seen people who write papers and you cannot correct the paper. They are so angry, you know, they don't like me. They don't like the way I dress. They don't know, you know, hey, it has nothing to do with the paper. In fact, the best thing around emotional intelligence is the test of whether you can critique yourself. Can you critique yourself? Are you able to look you in the mirror and say, you know what, Annette, I don't like this. And I don't like this because of that and the other and the other. And everybody is perfectly able to critique themselves if they have authenticity. Remember where we started? And you have a commitment for self-improvement. Then you should be able to look you in the eye and say, this was not right. And guess what? Esther or Wamboi or Idzai can do it better than I. Actually, I should pass this ball because it will come out better with Esther because they have a better strength, the ability, the emotional intelligence to know how you deploy. A good leader deploys competencies, not people. You task according to the best competence so that you can derive the best returns. That's what you look at. And you deploy according to your team's strength. If Annette is stronger this way, then you deploy Annette that way. Sometimes we say, oh, you know, she will see, I will give them this one so they can't make it. Oh, then you are subverting the possibility of achievement for all. That's what you're doing. But when you play on the strength, then you benefit from the summation of the positive and you underplay the weakness because everybody has a weakness. So the task of us as leaders and when we are building teams is to play on the strength of each of the team members. That is what you do. But that takes a great sense of emotional intelligence so that you can leverage on strengths and minimize the weaknesses. Number 4, self-discipline. I could not underscore this as strongly as I would want. There is a sense of collapsing self-discipline across society. And this is really the ability to exercise self-discipline, to demonstrate poise, even in the most trying circumstances. How do you hold under pressure? And that's why people say, sleep over it. Bite your tongue. Sleep over it. Take a deep breath. Let's reflect on this. Let's reflect on this. The ability of self-discipline and integrity is what defines who you are and whether you are the leader that somebody admires, wishes to become or not. Because as somebody has said, there is leadership you do not want to be associated with. There is a leader you don't want to be. And a lot of it starts from yourself, your self-discipline, your values, your ethos. Who are you? And how do you project who you are? Now, oftentimes, and I tell this to people, and this leads on to the whole question around commitment to purpose. Commitment to purpose, because there is a reason of your existence, which is the purpose. It is absolutely important that you work towards the fulfillment of that purpose. Oftentimes, that purpose can only be realized when we build teams, the peerage that will help us to walk towards that purpose. So carrying your vision, creating teams to execute this vision. I like the idea of big visions, because you have no value in and of yourself. You only become valuable if you're meaningful beyond of yourself. This is really important, you know? So how do you inspire teams and people around you to perform to their best, to fulfill themselves? Because only then can you realize the whole sum of life and humanity. And I always tell people this when I'm talking about commitment to purpose and being vision carriers and executing these visions, is that it is actions that inspire other people. It is what we do, not what we say. It is what we do, not what we say. I often tell my team leaders, I say, you lead by example. You lead by action. Your staff will not do what you tell them to do. Your staff do what you do. Your staff do what you do, not what you tell them to do. If you tell your staff that you need everybody to clock in at the right time, 8 o'clock, and you clock in at 10 o'clock and clock out at 3:15, believe me, your front office will clock off at 3:35. Anyway, you won't be there. So you'll clock off at 3:15, and at 3:35, they'll also clock off. You come in at 10, they'll come in at 9:45. But if you walk into your office at 8 o'clock, your front team will be in by 7:30. So your staff does what you do, not what you say. So in summary, good ladies, I have said the future is woman. I have said it is important that we prepare for leadership because it is a responsibility. Leadership begins with ourselves. We must be able to lead ourselves in order for us to lead others. There are a number of things that must happen. We must be ready professionally. We must be ready in terms of our emotional intelligence. We must be ready in terms of our resilience. We must be ready professionally. There is no shortcut to progress. And so I look forward. We must find peerage around us. And this peerage must be the peerage that inspires you, because we are all learning. It's a journey. We are all on a journey. And I look forward to all of you making a contribution first by fulfilling yourselves and contributing to humanity, to your families, to your nation, to the world. I thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. You know, as you were talking, it's like I feel I was near you, although we are near each other online, but I was so excited. And you know, one thing which I like, you said, leadership starts with yourself. Start by loving yourself as an individual, then others will follow you. Without loving yourself, without having confidence in yourself, people will not have confidence in you. Flowers once again to you, Ambassador. You know, in G4G, we don't clap, we give each other flowers. So our flowers to you, Ambassador. I really appreciate this time, and because of our time, I'll open to questions. I don't want to take many time. I know my colleagues, they have many questions, which they want to ask, and they want to know more, and they want to learn more. So ladies, I have opened for questions. Any question which you want to ask from Ambassador, she's free to answer. So we can raise up our hands. We can type in the chat box, anything which you are comfortable with. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. I can start off while people are gathering their question. I'm sure they have a lot of questions. Thank you so much for your talk. It's been really, really inspirational, and you know, and a lot very insightful, a lot for us to think about and implement. But I think you've told us it starts with us. So it's down to us, and maybe we can rely on our village here at G4G. I have a question. My question is on the different positions that you've had. Were you just picked, or did you put up your hand, or did you compete? Because there are various you know, positions in various, you know, areas. How did you make it? Were you picked because of your work, or did you, you know, approach somebody and say, I'm interested? How did you go about getting into those various positions? Thank you. There is another. Should we take more questions, or will you do one at a time?
Well, I can take a few more.
Yeah, I can see another one in the chat room from Janice Kinyoa.
Can I go second? Hello?
Just a second. What books, lessons would you recommend to build emotional intelligence? And I think the question.
Yeah, for me, my question is
Sarah, yeah.
For me, my question was according with the so many titles, she must have been very busy. I just wanted to know how was the balance between raising her children and also chasing a career. Was there any time that she felt discouraged, and how did she go about it? And thank you so much. That was very powerful. I'm very inspired.
I think just to follow up on Sarah's question, because it's also with the many titles, that was also ringing in my mind about balance. But thank you so much, Ambassador. You are quite inspiring. And I think for me, my question would be, with the juggling and all that, have you had any regrets looking back? And what have been your achievements in terms of what you have just told us? And what has really worked for you in terms of the principles and values that you have followed? Thank you.
Yes, I could say there is another question in the chat box. How do you deal in situations in where people disregard your I think it has moved from my end.
I can finish it up for you. How do you deal in situations where people disregard your opinion or suggestion, yet you are an expert in your field because you're a woman, especially when you're just starting out?
Okay.
And then another one is, did you know from the beginning that this is what you wanted to do? Or was it a vision that grew as you enriched your professional career? I think we can take those for now.
Yeah. Let me take those, and there are some really good questions there, and some big ones too. I mean, there are some that you can actually create a whole cohort of a course around, because there's a lot of things that people can share. Let me begin with a vision. Well, did I when I was born, did I know I was gonna be the National Security Advisor? No, I didn't know I was going to be the National Security Advisor 1 month ago. In fact, I didn't know 3 weeks ago. So it has grown. I think the answer to this, it has grown, but there's a lot of things you can put into this, and I'll be touching on them as I come up. When I grew up, I wanted to be two things. Huh? The first one was I really wanted to be a secretary, because I could not understand how the secretary in my father's office, the type of power she wielded. She told the next message. She told him it was time to move, and he moved. But I think when I reflect back, what attracted me to that was not the fact that she was a secretary. It was around the fact that she could make things happen. When I think back, you know, and by the way, by the time I was in Form 4, I could type my work, I still do. And I think she had a profound impact on what to do. This idea of getting things done, because there's a way in which secretaries actually get things done, you know? You say you need this and that and the other letter, and it is on your table, gets done. So, you know, and it was a fascinating thing. So there is a way in which your visions must grow. I spoke about commitment to fulfilling your raison d'etre. Your raison d'etre is out there, and I think it grows with you. So how much are you able to work with it? I think you must allow yourself to grow into who you're supposed to be. And I think human beings are expandable. I think you can achieve a lot. 2 years ago, I went to visit Professor Bethwell Ogot, and he was standing at 99 years old. BBI debate was raging. And as we spoke, he said, "Oh, my manuscript on the BBI is with the publishers." At age 99. Are we together? We are expandable. And that is the message I want to leave with you. Each one of you is expandable. You have what it takes to grow into a larger than you can imagine yourself to be. So keep working. That is the phrase I use. I keep telling my young mentees, keep working, and mentors, keep working, because you can fly, you can walk, and you can keep walking. 2, when people disregard your opinion and you're an expert, especially when you're starting, what do you do? Remember, I spoke about, and this actually you will find out. I will tell you a story. Last year, the president of Estonia came for a state visit here. I don't know that you saw her or whether you remember anything like that. Young, sportish, beautiful woman. And there are a couple of beautiful presidents now. You know, there was one in I think in Croatia. I don't know that you saw her, and she was in the special forces. So she came, a real success in the private sector and a very smart woman she is, sportish, beautiful, and everything. And I happen to have the honor of being an escort of honor. So, you know, we did all sorts of things in this town. And at one time she said, you know, she wanted to have a cup of coffee in a cafe, which kind of created a lot of confusion. Did it. And she told me a story about her being a woman in an EU meeting. And they walked in, the security people, because in the mind of a lot of society, presidents are men. Okay. And so they were moving into a meeting, a presidential meeting, which was 1+0, which means the president will walk into this room alone. And so she was moving in the crowd of presidents to get into the room for the meeting. And security, this big security people, stepped in front of her, pushed her aside, and said, whispered to her ear, "You're not supposed to be in this meeting. This is 1+0. Okay, this is 1+. So she turned around and said, and then she said, "I am the president." And that one said, "No, you get out, because this is not for secretaries. This is not for handlers." Are we together? So there is going to be points at which, because of the reasons I started with, you will feel a shovel here and a shovel there. The question is, what do you do about that shovel here and shovel there? Now, because everybody wants to succeed, including our good side, the male, it is extremely important that as a woman, you prepare yourself, and I'm sure you have had this, that oftentimes women have to work twice, sometimes thrice harder. It is the reality of life that you must live by. Whether people agree or not, the good thing about expert opinion is that it remains expert opinion. And whether somebody takes it or not, based on other circumstances, they will turn around to that expert opinion. So oftentimes, somebody may push you like this and push you like that, but there will be a time of acknowledgement where that opinion came from. And let me tell you, if there is truth to the aspiration of the organization, of the country, of the institution, they will come around to the right expert opinion. So don't look back. Did I talk about resilience here? Resilience means that you're going to ride the storm, that shoving left and right is not going to push you down. That if you sleep and go down, you will wake up, brush your skirt, and move forward. I hope I'm making sense, okay? It's not gonna be a free ride, and this is not just because you're a woman. This is because you are entering the spheres of decision-making and determination of pathways of organizations, of countries, of institutions, of society. So even if you are men, even among us, the men, they still shovel each other. It might just be that you're there as a woman, you're alone, you're threatening somebody, so they do it harder, more frequently. Doesn't mean it won't be there. So the question is, are you going to have the emotional intelligence to manage it? Are you going to have the resilience to stay the course? Improving yourself is desired. So, and this leads me to the next point. Did I raise my hand or what happened? Again, when I started, there have been points at which I have applied for jobs, I have sat interviews and so forth. And there have been points where I have been asked to take up tasks. And so it depends on which positions you're talking about. There will be points at which you will be, but if you're asking whether I have gone out to lobby, to persuade, to say I'm there, I haven't, because I don't have. You don't have to. You do not have to. If you do, if you have your competencies right, if you have your commitments right, if you have, then it is not unusual for somebody to be invited to take leadership role. I hope I'm making sense. You don't have to do the things people say must be done because they are not true. And you do them if you did not give your all. Because if you have given your all, you have nothing else to give and you have no regrets to make. It is when you, I will fill it up this way, I will fill it up that way, I will, and oftentimes it doesn't work. And then you just get into this cyclic thing of regret and despair, and you beat down your confidence and you open yourself up for attack. And you get attacked. That will happen. But if you have nothing to put under the table, do I have regret looking back? Not that I can think of, and I'm being very frank. If I lived my life, would I live it this way? Yes, I would. And because when I do something, I do it. And if I can't do something, I will not do it. So I have no difficulty saying, I am sorry, I don't know this. I have no difficulty saying, I'm sorry, I can't do this. I am sorry, I don't know this. I will try, but I cannot promise I will make it. But I also say, yes, I will do this, and yes, I will deliver this. I also do that. I also say that. So it is very clear, honestly. And this might sound callous, but it is not. Maybe there are things that could have been better. I don't know. Maybe I could have had more money than I do. I don't know, or been, I don't know what. But I think there is nothing I can kill myself about. You know, have I had failures in my life? But if there has been a slip, it is a slip. So it is a slip. So I have to get on with life. I don't sit in the mud. And I think it is important to be able to do that. So when I leave any office, I leave. And by the way, since I started work, I have never worked in any office for more than 20 months, except when in between my having children. So I have no sense of permanency of work, but I'm driven by the excitement of the achievements in the next frontier. That excites me a lot. So when I walk out, I walk out. I just walk out because I do my things. Every day I leave my office as if I will not come back tomorrow. When I leave my office every day, I leave my office. And I have left my office and not gone back and not had to go back, because when I leave, I finish. What I can do today, I do, you know. Well, sometimes I don't finish everything, but that's life. So I guess I'm speaking also to some of the principles that work for me. I say what I have to say. Sometimes it is not comfortable, even for me, but I do not know another way of doing it. It makes it easier for me because I don't have to repeat it tomorrow. I think it is important to have faith, and I don't mean being religious. I think it is important to have faith in the broadest sense of defining faith, because I believe there is destiny. I believe there is deity. It is important to believe in a bigger humanity, you know, because I don't believe you can actualize yourself just by serving yourself. I mean, anybody's needs are very, very, very minimal, frankly, very, very minimal. You didn't have to work if you're just for yourself, because your needs are very, very few. And I think your value is social. It is for more than yourself. I think it is very useful for you guys to find something to do outside your professional life, you know, to do about community, and I have found that some of these things are the most gratifying things to do. You know, the things that you do because you're sharing yourself with humanity and without any expectations of return. So those are some of the things that kind of help me go forward. Balance, you know, this question is a question I am asked everywhere, and I believe every woman is asked. You know, dear sweethearts, I don't know that there is a time when you stop and say, you know, now I am a mother, now how will I balance this with this paper, which I must take to the president tomorrow? I don't think you have that time. You really, if you're a mother and your child gets a temperature at 3 a.m., you go to the doctors. There's no time for, do I balance this? Do I not balance this? And if you have to go into a meeting with your boss tomorrow at 6 o'clock, then you have to go to the office at 6 o'clock. So what then? What do you do about these roles? Because there are multiple roles, and you have to do them all. I have told women, please find help, and don't Don't be shy. Don't be apologetic. Don't be sorry. There is someone out there that can help you look after your children very well. Find them, please. And don't be sorry. Don't be sorry that you can't tie a diaper. Don't be sorry. Get somebody to do it. Cook that meal, even if you like cooking when you grew up. You don't have to. Hey, find the best chef there is. Call up for your best meal, because you should have your best meal if you can afford it. Huh? And you can, and you should. Don't be shy, and nothing makes you any less of a woman for looking for help, for finding help. Because you must be a mother, and you must be a leader, and you must be a top team leader, and you must advise whoever it is, and you must generate that paper of yours, and you must excel in all those levels. And because you don't have 6 hands, and because you can't be in 3 places at the same time, select your village carefully. Your house help is as important as your boss. As important as your boss. Your nanny is the most important person. Find the right fit for you, and don't be shy about it, and don't be sorry, and don't feel guilty. So many times, people say, I don't love my child. In fact, you could find a nanny that is far better than you, hey? Again, are you able to have the emotional intelligence to tell yourself the truth? Find the right help for you, and don't be sorry about it at all. Because you can be a mother, you can be a beautiful girl, you can be a top manager, you can be a top achiever. They help to support you. So find the right people around you so that you can achieve your raison d'etre, your reason of existence. Any other question?
Thank you very much. That's really, really wonderful responses. And there are very many questions, but
and find time for you. You must have me time. You must take care of yourself. Lots of time girls forget themselves. Oh, I don't know what, I don't know what. As I was being a mother and an ambassador with 3 children, eldest is 6 at that time. Okay. One time I sat down and thought, oh my God, I need a wife. Why am I saying I need a wife? I need a wife for my children. A wife who will sleep with my children, feed them, do what? That's what I exactly did. I got somebody who could do that. All right? Okay. Who, if there's a temperature, I don't have to come from the office and take the child. The child will be in hospital by the time I get, and I will get a call. Please find help and don't be shy about it, or feel sorry or guilty. I think my children are better for that.
Yes, thank you so much, Ambassador, for all the inspirational stories which you are sharing and all the knowledge which you are getting. I think because of our time, we're just going to allow one person, who is Nancy, to ask the last question.
Okay.
And others, kindly feel free, post your questions, forward them to Ambassador, and we'll give you the feedback in our groups because of our time. So
Thank you very much for giving me the chance, Idzai. Ambassador, I am so inspired. Listening to you, I could relate to some of the issues you're talking about. Very powerful. Find help. And that is something also that I have had to do even in my journey to where I've reached as Auditor General for those who are joining from other countries or other cohorts. My name is Nancy Gadungo. Ambassador, I had written my question, and I think that's why Zai has asked me to ask it out loud. And the question is, how have you handled fellow senior male colleagues? Because I know at the level you are dealing with the top of the top in terms of leadership in this country, in terms of business people. You're in the security organ, so you're dealing with generals and lieutenant colonels and all those titles that they have in the military. How have you handled the senior male colleagues who, when you're seated at the table, at the boardroom or in a meeting, want to sort of keep you in a traditional role? I know you have partially answered it when maybe you are being shoved here and there, but you feel it sometimes, you sense it sometimes that they want you to be the almost like the flower girl, that you're seated at the table as tokenism, not as equal to the task, or probably even better at the task than they are. Thank you, Ambassador.
It is true. I mean, Nancy, it is true, because first of all, you're coming into these areas that some are the last bastions of women exclusion. I mean, and I can relate to that from where you sit in the OAG's office. But this is even more in the security sector. I have had the opportunity to chair the Defense Council. During COVID, I chaired the command center during all that time that was coordinating the response to the COVID. You're receiving all these briefs. And because I started my career very much in the security sector, even as a young woman, I learned very, very early on, and all the people that are on this platform are young women. Please understand that part of the stereotype of society is the perception of women as a toy of sexual gratification for men. And I'm going to say this rather bluntly, you know. And so the first thing when they see you, somebody will, even without saying it, looking at your slit, and completely making you extremely uncomfortable, isn't it? So it became very clear to me that I needed very early on to shoo away attention from myself as a first point, because once you get nervous, once you realize that somebody's eyes are tucked at your, I don't know what it is called, at the V of your neck, it also destabilizes you emotionally. It can destabilize you. It is a room full of men, probably older men, probably looking aggressive, and so forth and so forth. So it is very, very important how you shoo attention, unnecessary, undesirable, destabilizing attention from yourself. So, people, the way you dress matters. It absolutely matters, because you know that the eyes of a man can undress you and completely get you destabilized, okay? Well, I am past that, and I'm sure Nancy is past that as well. But for you younger women, it's very, very important, and there is no reason why you should expose yourself to those types of things. Because once you insulate yourself from that frivolous, sexual, stereotypical idea about why you are a woman and what roles you should be serving, because even some of them will be writing notes to you. I have had a situation where somebody wrote a note as the meeting was going on and say, "Can I meet you later on?" And you just raise your hand up and say, "Chair, I want to read a message here which has just come from one of the people. I don't know that you want to, I will read the message and then you can tell me if I should say who it is." Then you say, "Oh, can I see you later? Shall I read?" Everybody says, no, don't say their name. But you can be sure nobody in that formation will ever attempt something like that again. So you stop it. And by just that action, you have said, this is a red area. and you're not going to perceive me in this way. And you continue that meeting as if nothing happened. 2, it is absolutely important. Everybody respects knowledge. So please, and I tell people, it is important to be ready for everything, for every task ahead of you. It is more dignified to say, sorry, I'm not ready for this session. Can we push the session forward? Can we swap this session to allow me to prepare? Please don't throw yourself in an environment where you're going to give people an excuse to brand you incompetent, favored, tokenism, things like that. You must be ready to deliver at the expected or above expected levels. I have found this to work, because first of all, it sets you apart, and it demands that they must respect your professional efficacy. I have found this to be the biggest shield for any woman. So long as you are competently above all, and that means preparation matters. The discipline of preparation is important. More important, the discipline of execution. You say, this is going to happen, this must happen. It must happen, because if it doesn't, it is going to chip on your credibility, and they'll just start saying, but she's like all of us, so why was she appointed anyway? If she's just like us, anyway, she's being like us. But if you're above a cut, hear you, they learn to listen to you. And that is very important, to have the presence, the ability to command convening. You must be able to command convening as a woman, particularly if you are in the presence of male colleagues, because they can be very, very destructive. And I want to say this. It is also important to know that society overall is very, very, very unforgiving for women. And so things that your male colleagues can get away with, you will not get away with. You will not get away with things that your male colleague get away with. That is just how the society is at this point. So it is very, very important that you do not use the same measure, the same threshold, because they can actually use it to flip you. That is very, very important. I mean, the other thing, Nancy, is just, the other thing is to build alliances within the male colleagues. It is very, very important to have the emotional intelligence to actually forge alliance with someone, because there will be people that will want to deal with you as a professional. You identify them and you just keep building those bridges, and if possible, broadening them as much as possible, so that you can have people that watch your back, you can have people that can fight in your corner, you can have people that you can work with.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. You know, I like the way you said the way you dress matters. Mostly people think, you know what, educated women, learned women, they expose their bodies. But if we hear it from you, the way you dress matters. Your dress should not arrive before you. Thank you so much, Ambassador, for all those your points. And also, everybody respect someone with knowledge. No matter how people disrespect you, but if you have knowledge, they'll come back and say, you know what? Even if we do, even if we say what we are saying, this lady knows what she's doing. And it is able to build someone who is a courageous leader. Thank you, Ambassador, for that. I think, ladies, we are going to close our questions at this juncture. And also, we can put on our videos so that we'll be able to say, thank you, Ambassador, and she's able to see the ladies whom she was talking to. And I think also, Esther, you will be able to take us a picture before the
allow me to chip in as we are preparing ourselves for the picture. Thank you so much, Ambassador, for those very, very insightful words that you've left us with. I have a message from our one of our co-founders, Lionesses. She was in the chat, but she's had to cut. She was on the call, but she's had to catch a flight, and she sends her hand was up at some point in time, but we were not able to squeeze her in. But she's grateful for your attendance, and she says that we look forward to partnering with you with Athena mentorship as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Ladies, let's switch on our cameras for the picture.
With some smiles.
Yes, and as we give flowers to Ambassador for the last time, flowers to you, Ambassador. Actually, we have learned a lot from you, and we are coming out of this session being rich. Thank you so much. Esther, are you ready?
Yes, I've started taking pictures, but I don't see many smiling faces this morning. Where is everybody? We have a, so do bear with us. Don't stop smiling. We're trying to get everybody. One moment.